All right, so this particular review has to do with understanding verbals. And of course, we know that verbals are verbs that function as another part of. Sometimes we have words which are formed from verbs and they act as another part of speech. Gerunds, participles, and infinitives. And the most common that are mixed or mistaken are gerunds and participles because of the spelling. But of course, the focus when you're looking at how a word modifies or functions is not necessarily the spelling. Your function or your purpose is identifying how they function in a sentence. A gerund is a verbal ending in ing that functions as a noun. It functions as a person, place, thing, or idea. For example, he loves running. Running is a noun. It's something they're doing. It's a thing. Love or loves is the verb. He is a pronoun. The main verb in the sentence is loves. Running is the gerund and it functions as a noun and it is also the direct object. Can you see the gerunds are formed from verbs? Skiing is her favorite sport. The gerund is formed from the verb ski. So the verb ski can also mean the noun ski, or it can also be used as the noun ski. But in this case, we're talking about the act of skiing. Gerunds always end in ing. Walking is good for you. Walking is a gerund because it ends in ing, but not just because it ends in ing, it also functions as a noun. He loves singing. Singing is our gerund. It ends in ing and it functions or acts like a noun. I was arrested for speeding. Speeding is our gerund. It ends in ing, but it functions as a noun. And you hear me say that repeatedly. It's all about the function because you have participles and you have gerunds. And both of them, all gerunds end in ing, but some participles can end in ing. But the mistake that happens is when we don't understand how it functions. All gerunds function as a noun. And so that means that all gerunds can in some way be a direct object or a subject. But be careful. Not all words ending in ing are automatically gerunds, as I said earlier. Now, gerunds are nouns and function as nouns. Here's a couple review. She loves singing. Replace the word with another noun and it would still make grammatical sense. She loves tables. And that's how we're able to verify this is a noun. This is functioning as a noun. This is a gerund because I can replace it with another noun and it still makes sense. Singing is functioning as a noun, therefore it's a gerund. So to recap, gerunds are formed from verbs. They end in ing always. They always end in ing. The gerunds are nouns and they always function as nouns. Okay, can you identify the gerunds in the following passage? As Toby loves cooking, he has decided to make dinner for his family. However, to choose what to make is tricky. His family loves his cooking, and eating is a favorite pastime. But Toby's siblings are extremely fussy. Knowing this, he has decided to make something simple. So let's look. Okay, cooking, cooking, and eating. Notice how knowing, okay, is not a gerund because it's not functioning as a noun. Let's now move on to our next type of verbals. This type of verbal is called a participle, and it functions as a modifier. And of course, we know modifiers modify, change, or describe other parts of speech. And in this case, participle function as a modifier known as an adjective. So typically that means most of the time, or 100% of the time, participles are going to come before a noun or pronoun. That's how you know it's a participle. If it comes before a noun or pronoun, it's a participle because gerunds don't function as modifiers. Some participles. Here's an example. The burning building crumbled slowly. The is an article. Burning is a participle. Burning modifies or describes the building. It does end in ing, but because it functions as an adjective, because it modifies a noun, the noun being building, it is a participle, regardless of the spelling. It always comes down to the function. Here, burning is functioning as an adjective, as it describes the building. There are two types of participles: present participles and past participles. Present participles end in ing. Past participles end in ed, en, d, t, or n. Of course, your focus and the focus for the milestones will be, how do they function? Present participle: the crying baby belonged to her. The girl sitting in the corner is my sister. We were entertained by dancing children. Past participle: the exhausted students slept. The broken window was fixed. We ate the cooked meal. Present participles show present tense. Past participles show past tense. And these are all the participles that are underlined. Crying. Crying modifies or baby. What type of baby? How is the baby? The baby is crying. Therefore, it modifies and functions as an adjective, which makes it a participle. Sitting. Sitting modifies how the girl is doing. She is sitting. Dancing. Dancing modifies the children. How are the children? They are dancing. Exhausted modifies students. Broken modifies window. And cooked modifies the meal. So, do you see how they are formed from verbs but are functioning as adjectives? He held his crying baby. The word crying functions as an adjective. It modifies or describes the noun child. Here's a trickier. Sitting in the front row, the girl listened carefully. Sitting in the front row is a participle phrase as it is describing the girl, which is a noun. Sitting is functioning as an adjective. Sitting is not functioning as a noun. So, in this case, sitting is a participle. Sitting is not a gerund because the participle phrase sitting in the front row describes or modifies the noun girl. It does not serve as a noun itself. If it served as a noun itself, then it would be a gerund. Different function. Here are some more examples of participle phrases functioning as adjectives. Watching the news, Jake was saddened. Children interested in studying will succeed. I saw the teacher strolling down the wall. Shaken by the news, Beth collapsed. All of these participles are identified in light brown color, and you see both past and present tense participles in each sentence. Also in each sentence, you see that the participle phrase is underlined to identify how this participle is modifying the noun within the sentence. So wait, so are participles always adjectives? No. When used with auxiliary verbs, for example, the verb phrase to be or to have, they form a multi-part verb. I am singing. Am is the auxiliary verb. It's a state of being. Singing is a present participle. Singing is not a noun in this particular sentence. It functions as an adjective. It describes how I am. Participles. So to recap, there are two types of participles, present and past tense. Present participles always end with ing. Past participles have various endings. Participles are verbals when they function as adjectives. In the following sentences, can you identify the participles which are functioning as adjectives? She saw the girl standing alone in the corner. Standing is our participle. I was cooking when the howling wind picked up. Howling is our participle. The folded letter lay on the folded table. Folded and folding both function as adjectives because they both modify a noun. Folded modifies the letter. Folding modifies the table. Therefore, they're adjectives that function as modifiers and therefore are participles. Burned and hard, the pizza was inedible. Burned is our past participle. It's past tense, it ends in ed, but it also functions to modify or describe the pizza. What type of pizza? The burned pizza. Singing while she worked, Susan was content. Singing functions as a modifier. It modifies the action that Susan is completing. Then we have our last verbal. And this particular verbal is most easy to identify because it always begins with the form of the verb phrase to be. So let's focus on infinitives. An infinitive is a verbal that can function as an adjective, noun, or adverb. The infinitive is formed by placing to, the word to, in front of the present simple form of the verb. To run, to play, to comprehend, to believe, to sing. So it's easy to identify that these are infinitives because they have to followed by a verb. The difficult part is to find out how these particular infinitives function, whether they're functioning as an adjective, whether they're functioning as a noun, whether they're functioning as a adverb. But in addition to that, whether they're functioning as a direct object. So if the infinitive is functioning as a direct object, it therefore must be functioning as a noun. So an infinitive is a verbal that can function as an adjective, noun, or adverb. And here's an example. She loves to bake. Here, the infinitive is functioning as a noun. Bring a book to read in class. Here, the infinitive is functioning as an adjective. It describes the book. He went to ask the teacher. Here, the infinitive is functioning as an adverb. It describes why he went. It describes a verb, went. So to recap, infinitives are formed by adding to before the simple present form of the verb. And infinitives can function as nouns, adjectives, or adverbs.